The earth beneath your feet has been here for billions of years. Long before you arrived, long before any of us arrived, it was here, patient, solid, holding everything that has ever lived. Take a moment right now and feel that. Feel the ground beneath you. Whether you are sitting, standing, or lying down, the earth is there. It has always been there, and it is holding you right now without effort, without condition, without asking anything in return. This is the gift of Earth. Earth is the first element, the foundation, the great mother beneath all things. In Wiccan wisdom, Earth represents the north, the midnight, the deep winter, the time of going inward and trusting what has been planted, even when you cannot yet see it growing. Earth governs our bodies, our homes, our relationship with the physical world. It is the element that asks, are you present in your body? Are you honoring the sacred vessel you have been given? Are you tending to the practical, physical foundations of your life with the same reverence you give to your spiritual practice? Because here is what Earth teaches us. The spiritual and the physical are not separate. The ground is sacred. Your body is sacred. The food you eat, the home you rest in, the earth you walk upon, all of it is sacred. Look at the roots of a tree, how deep they go, how wide they spread beneath the surface where no one can see. That is Earth's wisdom. The most important growth happens underground, in the dark, in the quiet, in the waiting. You may be in a season of underground growth right now. Things may feel slow. You may not be able to see the evidence of what you are building. But Earth says, trust the process. Trust the roots. What is planted in good soil always rises. Earth's colors are the deep greens of the forest, the rich, dark browns of fertile soil, the gray of ancient stone, the gold of autumn leaves returning to the ground to nourish what comes next. Earth's crystals are obsidian, for grounding and protection, green aventurine, for abundance and growth, black tourmaline, for energetic boundaries, moss agate, for connection to nature and new beginnings. Earth's herbs are the deep-rooted ones, oak and patchouli, vetiver and cypress, mugwort and sage, the plants that grow close to the ground and anchor themselves with strong, wide roots. When you need earth energy, go outside. Take your shoes off. Press your feet into the grass or the soil or the sand. Let the earth pull the scattered energy from your body down and down and down into her care. When you need earth energy, hold a stone. Feel its weight. Feel its solidity. Remember that you are made of the same ancient matter as mountains. When you need earth energy, tend to something. A plant, a garden, a meal, your home. Earth is activated through care, through tending, through the slow, steady, patient work of nurturing something over time. You are a child of this earth. Her soil is in your bones. Her seasons are in your blood. Her wisdom is in your body, if you will only slow down long enough to feel it. Plant your feet, take a breath, feel the ground rise to meet you. You are held, you are supported, you are rooted, and from this rootedness, everything becomes possible. Watch a flame. Really watch it. The way it moves, wild and unpredictable and completely alive. The way it reaches upward, always upward, as if it knows something the rest of the world has forgotten. The way it transforms everything it touches into something entirely new. That is fire. And that fire lives in you. Fire is the second element, the great transformer, the sacred force that does not preserve, it changes. It does not ask permission to burn. It does not apologize for the heat it generates. It simply does its holy work and trusts that what emerges from the ash is exactly what was meant to come. In Wiccan wisdom, fire represents the south, the noon sun, the height of summer, the peak of creative power and sacred will. It is the element of passion, of courage, of the spark that sets everything in motion. Think about the moments in your life when you have felt truly alive, when something lit up inside you and you could not ignore it. That was fire. That was the element calling you toward your purpose, toward your truth, toward the life that is waiting for you on the other side of fear. Fire governs our will, our desire, our sacred anger, the kind of righteous anger that rises up and says, "This is not right, and I have the power to change it." Fire governs our creativity, the electric aliveness that comes when we make something from nothing. And fire governs transformation. This is perhaps fire's greatest teaching. Nothing is transformed without heat. Not metal, not clay, not the human soul. The things that have changed you most completely, the losses, the endings, the moments when everything burned down, those were fire doing its sacred work. You were not being destroyed. You were being forged. The phoenix does not mourn the burning. The phoenix is the burning. And from every burning, something rises, something more true, more beautiful, more fully itself than what existed before. Look at the candle flame, how it flickers when the wind comes, how it bends but does not go out. That is resilience. That is the nature of sacred fire. It adapts, it moves, but it keeps burning. Fire's colors are the deep crimsons and burning oranges and blazing golds of the flame itself, the red of passion, the amber of transformation, the bright gold of the ember that refuses to die. Fire's crystals are carnelian, the stone of courage and creative fire, sunstone for joy and personal power, fire opal for passion and desire, red jasper for strength and endurance through the burning. Fire's herbs are the warming ones, cinnamon and dragon's blood, frankincense and rosemary, basil and ginger, the plants that generate heat, that awaken the body, that stoke the inner flame. Every candle you have ever lit was a conversation with this element. Every intention you have set over a flame was heard. Fire carries our prayers upward in its smoke. Fire transforms our words into energy that moves through the world. What needs to burn in your life right now? What old story is asking for the sacred fire of release? What version of yourself have you outgrown? What fear has kept you small long enough? Give it to the fire. Write it down and burn it. Light a candle and speak your truth over the flame. Let fire do what it does best. Because here is what fire knows that the rest of us sometimes forget. What burns away was never really you. What remains after every fire is the truest part, the part that cannot be destroyed. You are not afraid of the fire. You are made of it. Let yourself soften for a moment. You do not have to hold yourself so tightly right now. You do not have to have the answers. You do not have to be strong or certain or together. Not here, not with water. Water does not ask you to be strong. Water asks you to be honest. Water is the third element, the great healer, the sacred keeper of all that flows and feels and knows before the mind has caught up. In Wiccan wisdom, water represents the west, the sunset, the autumn, the time of harvest and release in the deep knowing that comes when we are finally willing to feel what we have been carrying. The moon governs water. And here is what that means for you. The same force that moves the ocean tides moves through your body. You are not separate from the tidal rhythms of this world. You are part of them. When the moon is full and you feel more emotional than usual, that is not weakness. That is water doing its sacred work. That is your body resonating with the pull of the universe. Water is the element of emotion, of intuition, of the deep unconscious world that communicates not in words, but in feelings, in dreams, in the sudden knowing that arrives before you can explain it. How many times have you known something before you could say how you knew it? That was water. That was your intuitive body reading the world around you in ways the logical mind never could. We live in a world that asks us to distrust our feelings, to be rational, to think our way through everything. And water says, no, some things cannot be thought through. Some things can only be felt through. The grief you have been putting off, the love you have been afraid to express, the anger you have been swallowing, the longing you have been ashamed of. Water says, these are sacred. All of it, every single feeling that has moved through you has been an invitation to know yourself more deeply. Think about the ocean, how it is never the same twice, how the surface changes with every breath of wind, how the depths remain calm even when the surface is wild. You are like this. Your emotions are the surface, alive and responsive and real. And beneath them, in the still, deep water of your soul, there is a peace that cannot be disturbed. Water teaches us to flow, not to push, not to force, not to break ourselves against the obstacles in our path, but to find the way around, to seep through, to trust that we will always find our way to where we need to go. Water's colors are the midnight blues of the deep ocean, the silver of moonlight on a still lake, the gray-green of a flowing river, the crystal clear of spring water catching the light. Water's crystals are moonstone, the great stone of intuition and emotional wisdom. Aquamarine for clarity and courage to speak your truth. Labradorite for psychic protection and the magic that lives in the unseen. Blue lace agate for gentle healing and peaceful communication. Water's herbs are the lunar ones, jasmine and rose, willow and lotus, lemon balm and chamomile, the plants that soften, that open, that invite the heart to be seen. When you need water energy, go to the water, a river, a lake, the ocean, a bath filled with salt and intention. Let the water hold you. Let it take what is ready to leave. When you need water energy, let yourself cry. Tears are sacred. They are water moving through you, carrying what has been held too long out into the world where it can finally dissolve. When you need water energy, journal without editing yourself. Let the words flow like water. Let whatever needs to surface come to the page. Water energy is activated through expression, through allowing, through the radical act of letting yourself be seen, even just by yourself. You are mostly water. Your body is water. Your tears are water. Your blood is water. The element is not outside of you. It is you. In like water, you are powerful beyond measure. Water carved the Grand Canyon. Water shaped every coastline on this earth. Water, patient and persistent and completely itself, changed the face of the world. So can you. Take a breath right now. A real one. Not the shallow breathing you have been doing all day. The kind where only your chest moves and your shoulders creep up toward your ears. A real breath into your belly, all the way down, and let it go. That is air. That is the element that has been with you every single moment of your life. Invisible and silent and absolutely essential. You cannot live without air, not for minutes. And yet, how rarely do you think about it? How rarely do you stop and appreciate the gift of this breath? This one, right now. Air is the fourth element, the great clarifier, the sacred carrier of thought and word and prayer and intention. In Wiccan wisdom, air represents the east, the sunrise, the spring, the element of new beginnings and fresh starts, and the first breath of a day that has never existed before. Air governs our minds, our words, our capacity to think clearly and communicate truthfully. It is the element of the intellectual life, of curiosity and learning, and the beautiful human ability to ask why, to wonder, to seek. But air is also the element of truth-telling, of the word spoken out loud, of the prayer sent upward on the smoke of incense, of the intention whispered to the dawn. Air carries our words further than we know, further than we can see. Think about how it feels to finally say something you have been holding back for a long time. The relief of it, the lightness, that is air clearing you. That is the element doing its healing work the moment you give your truth a voice. So many of us carry things we have never said, truths we have swallowed to keep the peace, words we have left unspoken to avoid the discomfort, love we have not expressed, boundaries we have not set, pain we have not named. Air says, name it, say it. Not necessarily to another person. Say it out loud to yourself. Write it in a journal. Speak it into the wind and let air carry it where it needs to go. Because unexpressed truth becomes heavy in the body. It becomes the tension in your shoulders, the tightness in your chest, the anxiety that seems to have no source. Give your truth to air and let it breathe. Look at how wind moves through a field of grass, how it bends everything it touches without breaking it, how it carries seeds from one place to another, planting new life in soil that never expected to grow anything. Your words are like those seeds. The things you say, the truth you speak, travel further than you know and plant themselves in places you will never see. Something is always listening. Spirit is the element that answers when we call in the elements. It is the presence in the ritual, the electricity in the circle, the feeling that comes when we are fully present in our practice, when we have truly arrived, when we know without being able to say why that what we are doing matters, that it reaches somewhere real. Your awakening, the one that brought you here, that was spirit. That stirring you felt, that knowing that there was something more, that pull toward the sacred, that sense that the life you were living was not quite the life you were meant to be living. That was not an accident. That was not your imagination. That was spirit, your own spirit, calling you home to yourself. Because here is the truth that Spirit teaches, above all else, the divine is not somewhere out there, not in a temple or a church or a sacred site that requires a long journey to reach. The divine is in you. It is you, the spark of the sacred that exists in every living thing exists in you, has always existed in you, cannot be lost or damaged or taken away. You were not given a small piece of the divine. You are a full and complete expression of it, unique and unrepeatable and absolutely necessary. Spirit's crystals are the high vibration ones. Moldavite, the stone born of cosmic collision that carries the frequency of transformation. High vibration quartz, for amplifying divine connection. Selenite, for accessing higher states of consciousness. Amethyst, the great spiritual stone that has been used for thousands of years to open the channel between human and divine. Spirit's practices are the ones that quiet the mind enough for the soul to be heard. Meditation, ritual, prayer, divination, sitting in nature with no agenda other than to be present. These are not things you do to earn spiritual connection. They are things you do to remember that the connection was always already there. You do not have to do anything to deserve Spirit. You do not have to earn the divine. You do not have to be further along in your journey, or have more things figured out, or have done the work perfectly. Spirit does not work on merit. It works on presence. Show up, fully and honestly, and Spirit meets you there. Every time. If you take nothing else from today, take this. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Not in your darkest moments. Not in your most confused seasons. Not in the times when everything felt meaningless and the path forward was completely invisible. Something walks with you. Something has always walked with you. And the fact that you are here, listening to this, feeling whatever you are feeling right now, is proof that Spirit is still calling, still guiding, still believing that your awakening is worth every step of the journey. Answer the call. Trust the path. Remember who you are. You are Spirit, infinite, sacred, awake. You have felt it in the moments when life cracked you open, when loss arrived and stripped away everything that wasn't essential and left you standing in the strange, raw silence of what remained. And in that silence, if you were still enough, you felt something underneath the pain, something that did not break, something ancient and quiet and impossibly steady. That was Spirit. That is always Spirit. Spirit is what makes magic real, not the magic of fairy tales, though there is beauty in that. The real magic, the magic of intention, of prayer, of speaking your truth to the universe and watching the universe rearrange itself around that truth. The magic of sitting at your altar and feeling, truly feeling, that something is listening. Something is always listening. Spirit is the element that answers when we call in the elements. It is the presence in the ritual, the electricity in the circle, the feeling that comes when we are fully present in our practice, when we have truly arrived, when we know without being able to say why that what we are doing matters, that it reaches somewhere real. Your awakening, the one that brought you here, that was Spirit, that stirring you felt, that knowing that there was something more, that pull toward the sacred, that sense that the life you were living was not quite the life you were meant to be living. That was not an accident. That was not your imagination. That was Spirit, your own Spirit, calling you home to yourself. Because here is the truth that Spirit teaches above all else. The divine is not somewhere out there, not in a temple or a church or a sacred site that requires a long journey to reach. The divine is in you. It is you. The spark of the sacred that exists in every living thing exists in you, has always existed in you, cannot be lost or damaged or taken away. You were not given a small piece of the divine. You are a full and complete expression of it, unique and unrepeatable and absolutely necessary. Spirit's crystals are the high vibration ones. Moldavite, the stone born of cosmic collision that carries the frequency of transformation. High vibration quartz, for amplifying divine connection. Selenite, for accessing higher states of consciousness. Amethyst, the great spiritual stone that has been used for thousands of years to open the channel between human and divine. Spirit's practices are the ones that quiet the mind enough for the soul to be heard. Meditation, ritual, prayer, divination, sitting in nature with no agenda other than to be present. These are not things you do to earn spiritual connection. They are things you do to remember that the connection was always already there. You do not have to do anything to deserve Spirit. You do not have to earn the divine. You do not have to be further along in your journey, or have more things figured out, or have done the work perfectly. Spirit does not work on merit. It works on presence. Show up, fully and honestly, and Spirit meets you there. Every time. If you take nothing else from today, take this. You are not alone. You have never been alone. Not in your darkest moments. Not in your most confused seasons. Not in the times when everything felt meaningless and the path forward was completely invisible. Something walks with you. Something has always walked with you. And the fact that you are here, listening to this, feeling whatever you are feeling right now, is proof that Spirit is still calling, still guiding, still believing that your awakening is worth every step of the journey. Answer the call. Trust the path. Remember who you are. You are Spirit, infinite, sacred, awake.
I am the daughter of the moon and the flame. I walked through the shadow and I spoke my own name.